Hey guys, so this should hopefully be a quick video. The other night I watched Takashi Miike's adaptation of Terraformars because it popped up on Tubi. I know this anime made a pretty big splash a few years back, but the general premise that humans terraform Mars, but they fuck it up and somehow create a race of extremely creepy cockroach-human hybrids. The cockroach people look fucking ridiculous, but in the movie they are actually kind of scary. Anyway, the series didn't look like the easiest fandom to get into since it's been very inconsistently dubbed over the years, and I kind of don't want to devote the time to watching a crazy series like this if it's subbed and I have to sit there reading it the whole time. But as a movie, I got enough respect for Takashi Miike to give 2 hours of my life to that. So let's talk about the movie. The movie starts off with this pretty nice homage to Blade Runner, which was probably the coolest and most evolved scene in the film. But then it quickly goes into this average space adventure movie about a bunch of random criminals who are dressed up like stormtroopers without the helmets, stuck on a spaceship, going to terraform Mars to, I guess, kill some cockroaches that snuck in there and mutated and somehow killed the first colonists 10 years ago. Except when the astronauts finally arrive on Mars, the roaches have continued to mutate and have pretty much evolved into muscular cavemen-like creatures who immediately kill the humans on sight and have the proportional strength and speed of a cockroach compared to a human if they were the same size. And then this turns into a very weird, ironic horror action movie where you see all these random Japanese actors of various quality show up and get ripped to shreds by these very creepy, muscular cockroach men. And it's kind of immature and a little bit juvenile. Like, it kind of fits into that old, slightly homoerotic humor you will occasionally find in Japanese media, where bodybuilders are just kind of treated like fucking natural disasters, and the joke is like, why would you do that to yourself? You're ridiculous. You can't bend over anymore. Anyway, so the roach people are all called Terraformars, and that is annoyingly dumb because I think it's a catchy title, but shouldn't it be the name of the astronauts, not the roaches? Giving it to the roaches make it feel like it's a, oh, there's Metroid, or oh, there's Zelda thing, where you think those are the names of the main characters of the shows, but actually it's the name of like the thing they're after or the thing they're fighting. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that was done on purpose for kids to just be like, oh, there he is, Terraformars. Look at him, everybody. That's Terraformars there. Anyway, the movie goes down some pretty creepy routes because it basically, like, really explores some creepy thoughts about the theory of evolution, and specifically convergent evolution and the biped dead-end theory and the post-humanity theory of evolution. And this is a theory that, given enough time, no matter what animal is the dominant life form on the planet, if it has enough time by itself, it will end up being a two-legged college student loan creating humanoid life form. In this case, the roaches and terraformars evolved into creepy human guys. And it's been popularly applied that if the dinosaurs didn't go extinct, they will become humans. And it's also been popularly applied that squids are next in line to replace us when we die. So yeah, in this movie it's roaches, I guess. Who knew? Anyway, the big showpiece crux of this movie is that you see all these loser people on this death mission and they're all dying on Mars. And then it turns out that they have randomly been given these random superpowers to turn themselves into bug human mutants to survive against the cockroach by using these evolutionary mutations to use the powers of insects that prey upon roaches to kill the roaches. But unfortunately, by and large, none of the people in this movie gain their powers fast enough to actually learn how to use them. Like, they literally have zero prep time to even figure out what their powers are, aside from what the narrator says about them. So most of them, like, turn on their superpowers and then instantly die because they don't know how to use their superpowers. Like, there's one dude who hilariously spends the entire movie being useless because he gained the power to become immortal, but it only works if he's being constantly hydrated with water. Otherwise, he immediately goes to sleep forever, and long story short, he sleeps the entire movie. Guess that would have been better to know how to use his powers, so he could have planned appropriately and, like, you know, had water on him. I don't know, this movie is so fucking shockingly stupid. It's like a worse version of the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie that just came out this year, except all the characters are just like superpowers and then they die, and some of them just die before they even get their powers off. The bugs keep evolving through the movie, and it's pretty scary. Again, as stupid as the Terraformars look, they are presented as being pretty fucking scary in the movie because they are so fast and so strong and so ruthless. And later in the film, they finally learn how to use guns, and that's like another like aspect of, oh no, they have guns now. And at one point, you think they've worked out a deal with like this Fifth Element Gary Oldman looking villain guy, but that was apparently a psych out because one of the girls had the power to control them and was wearing a dead one of them like a suit. Anyway, a bunch of the astronauts die until only a few of them are left, and the only ones left are like the Locust, the Moth, and the Wasp people. Locust realizes that he can like start overdosing on mutagen to get even stronger, but he ends up ODing on it and turning himself into a dead Locust mutant in the end. And then Moth Girl shows up at the end in a very ambiance-y scene doing a vague homage to Mothra. And then she blows herself up, which might have killed all the Terraformars. I don't really know. The ending is kind of murky and inconclusive. The Hornet guy escapes on an escape pod, and the mad scientist and his assistants sort of kill each other. And overall, it's like, why the fuck did I even watch this? Like, just everyone died for no reason. I don't know. I'm wondering if the anime would have taken like more time to develop these characters out and like had a more fleshed out ending. But I still, even after watching the movie, don't know if I actually give a damn. Okay, actually, I just looked into it. Apparently, the live-action movie is just the beginning of the story, and then it goes on for a few more years into some much darker places. Okay, real quick, because I think I need to change topics now. Terraformars live-action movie. Final verdict, 5 out of 10. I watched it. I don't feel better that I watched it. I almost feel a little bit worse that I watched it. It's not the best Takashi Miike movie. It's a pretty much schlock, average, kill-em-all film. Positives, the CGI was very good. I was actually surprised how good the CGI was because the overall film looks really good. And that scene where they homage Blade Runner, that was the best scene in the movie. Cons, though, this movie's mostly cons. The heroes all suck. All of them die without me even learning their names or acknowledging them as people. Their superpowers are stupid. Their transformation makeup is pretty ugly looking too. And all the villains just totally suck. And the Terraformars, I fucking hate them. They're too creepy, and I don't feel like they get defeated in a satisfying way. I don't know, they really disturb me, and I'm like kind of like not happy that the movie didn't like satisfactorily like destroy them all in like a way that I felt like the humans won. Because the humans really didn't win. Like, all the humans died and one guy ran away. That was kind of it. So, the movie was pretty trash, but there was enough really specific crap about evolution in this movie to remind me of Scottish scientist Douglas Dixon's flop sequel book, Man After Man. Wait, his name isn't Douglas, it's Dougal? Like, Dougal the dog in that old Jon Stewart movie? Okay, whatever, Dougal. Yeah, sure, Dougal Dixon. Okay, so he's some kind of speculative evolution scientist. He made it huge by writing a pre-internet 1981 book that was widely embraced by children and adults called Afterman, which was his scientific thesis that evolution of animals is going to continue into the future. And because humans have destabilized the global ecosystem, he very coolly prophesizes where animal species would then evolve if left to their own devices after 1981, going forward 50 billion years based on the theory of convergent evolution. Long story short, fucking mutant rats and mutant rabbits replace everything, and there's a few other cool things, like his end theory about penguins eventually replacing whales is actually pretty cool, and his thoughts about a fully potentially aquatic hippo evolutionary track are also pretty logistically sensible when you think about it. This book is mostly about the theory of convergent evolution and kind of an extension of the biped dead-end theory that Terraformars and some other things have pivoted to. There are some forms of life that just must always exist on Earth because it's convenient, and if one of them disappears, something new will replace them. Anyway, the book made Dougal Dixon so famous that he turned it into a Discovery Channel doc called The Future is Wild, and 8 years after writing the first book, he followed it up with The New Dinosaurs, a less interesting but still smash hit book where he just got high and thought about, what if the dinosaurs had never died out? What would they be like today? Now, this book is not as good, but it's at least still grounded in like scientific fact. And this book actually ends up getting, ironically, the most respect of the three, since a couple of the theoretically evolved dinosaurs Dougal Dixon came up with actually ended up later being discovered as fossils when scientists actually tried applying some of his theories to real fossil digs and looking into things. And once again, this book also does bring up the biped dead end theory at the end of the book by highlighting everyone's favorite dinosaur human monster, the Dino Sapien. But the book that he wrote that reminded me the most of Terraformars was the dude's final book. In the final book, this guy just took way too many drugs and went full off the reservation. His final book, Man After Man, pretty much posits what if humans had continued evolving from monkeys, but then they did a U-turn and decided to go back into evolving into monkeys, and at the same time other humans evolved into like whales and Spaceballs and fucking computer vacuums. The fuck? Anyway, I don't know why Terraformars reminded me so much of this book. Oh, wait. Oh, crap. Okay. So, apparently, Dougal Dixon is revered as a god in Japan, and everyone read all 3 of his books as soon as they came out, including a 4th book that only got published in Japan. And in the 1990s, he made a fucking anime. Okay, that explains a lot. Okay, I don't normally do this, but to be continued, because I've discovered an iceberg right now, and I need to make a new video about this iceberg. So, anyway, Terraformars was a bad movie that made me sad, and stay tuned. I'm going to come back and talk about Dougal Dixon some more. Later, guys.